Without these rivers, ancient Rus might never have existed. These waterways linked Scandinavia, Byzantium, and the Islamic world, placing Rus at the crossroads of international trade. According to medieval tradition, foreign rulers were invited to restore order among rival tribes. Whether legend or history, Rurik's dynasty would rule the lands of Rus for centuries. Many people expect Kyiv. But one of the greatest cities of ancient Rus was Novgorod. Novgorod's famous assembly gave many free townsmen an unusually strong voice in public affairs. At its height, Kyiv ranked among the largest cities. Anywhere in medieval Europe, visitors described Kyiv as a spectacular crossroads, where northern forests met the wealthy civilizations of the south. One sweet product made the forests of Rhodes incredibly valuable. Honey and beeswax became luxury exports that reached royal courts and great cities across Europe and Byzantium. Some of the world's most valuable furs once came from these forests. The fur trade brought extraordinary wealth and connected Russias with markets thousands of kilometers away. Long before churches filled the landscape, sacred forests shaped the spiritual life of Rus. Many seasonal customs survived the arrival of Christianity and can still be recognized in Eastern Europe today. One decision by a single ruler would permanently transform ancient Rus. The adoption of Christianity in 988 reshaped the culture, politics, art, and identity of Rus for generations. Ancient Rus built one of medieval Europe's greatest architectural masterpieces. St. Sophia became far more than a church. It symbolized the growing prestige and confidence of Kyiv. Imagine spending months creating just one book. Because every copy was handwritten, books ranked among the most valuable possessions in all of Rus. Some of the most personal messages from ancient Ruses survived by pure accident. These birch bark letters preserved shopping lists, family messages, school exercises, and even children's drawings for nearly 1,000 years. The prince trusted one group more than anyone else. The Druzhina served as bodyguards, military commanders, advisors, diplomats, and governors all at once. Justice in ancient Rus was more sophisticated than many people expect. Ruskaya Pravda relied heavily on financial compensation, making it unusually practical for its time. Women in ancient Russias often held far more influence than many people imagine. Historical records show that noble women could manage estates, oversee finances, and protect family interests. Whenever their husbands were away, ancient merchants sometimes dragged entire boats across dry land. These portages connected separate river systems and made long-distance trade across Eastern Europe possible. Some of the most sacred places in ancient Rus were hidden deep inside forests. For many communities, nature itself remained the most important place for worship long before stone churches appeared. Every great warrior depended on an even greater blacksmith. Craftsmen of Rus blended Slavic, Norse, and Byzantine techniques into weapons, respected across Eastern Europe. Entire cities began with the forests surrounding them. Abundant timber allowed settlements in Rousseau to expand surprisingly quickly whenever new land was needed. The wealth of cities ultimately depended on successful harvests. Well-stocked granaries meant the difference between security and disaster during the long northern winter. Many medieval children in Novgorod learnt to read and write earlier than historians once believed. Archaeological discoveries suggest literacy in cities like Novgorod was more common than scholars once assumed. Winter sometimes made travel faster instead of slower. Frozen rivers became natural highways, connecting distant communities across the vast northern landscape. Foreign travelers often arrived expecting a frontier. They discovered thriving cities instead. For medieval nobles, hunting was serious training. Not just entertainment. A successful expedition supplied food, luxury furs, and proved a leader's skill in the wilderness. Without fish, many settlements simply could not survive. Fish-fed communities supplied monasteries and became an important trade product throughout Russia. Some jewelry from ancient Rus still astonishes modern craftsmen. Techniques such as filigree and enamel place the jewelers of Roswell among Europe's finest artisans. Creating a single icon required extraordinary patience and years of training. These masterpieces shaped the artistic traditions of Eastern Europe. For centuries, the rulers of Rus negotiated with some of the most powerful kingdoms of medieval Europe. Marriage alliances connected the ruling dynasty of Rus with royal families across Europe. Most fortresses of ancient Rus were built from the resource it had in greatest abundance: wood, timber. Fortifications could be repaired with remarkable speed, allowing frontier cities to recover quickly after damage. Owning coins didn't always make someone wealthy. For many major purchases, silver, by weight and valuable commodities, mattered more than minted coins. The busiest highways of ancient Rus carried water instead of wheels. River transport connected distant cities faster and more efficiently than overland routes across forests. The strongest institution in ancient Rus wasn't the army. It was the family. Every generation contributed because survival depended on cooperation rather than individual success. Children learned survival long before they reached adulthood. Daily life itself became the classroom, where the next generation learned everything needed to survive. Before pharmacies existed, the forest supplied nearly every remedy. Knowledge of healing plants passed from generation to generation, long before universities reached the region. A ruler's reputation could be strengthened by a single, unforgettable feast. Lavish banquets rewarded loyalty, celebrated alliances, and displayed the wealth of powerful rulers. The story of ancient Rus cannot be told without the Vikings. Ancient Rus emerged through cooperation among many peoples, creating a civilization whose influence would endure for centuries. A single message could change the fate of an entire principality. Mounted couriers carried urgent news across enormous territories with surprising efficiency. Winter wasn't an obstacle. It was simply another season of life. Months of preparation often determined whether a community would survive until spring. Without medieval scribes, much of the history of ancient Rus would be lost forever. These chronicles remain among the most valuable historical sources for understanding early Rus. The first person to spot danger could save an entire city. Watchtowers beacon fires, and mounted messengers created an effective early warning network long before modern communication. The prosperity of ancient Rus depended as much on craftsmen as on princes. Visitors admired the remarkable quality of handmade goods produced throughout the lands of Rus. At its peak, Kyiv stood among the greatest urban centers. Anywhere in Europe, its wealth, strategic location, and international connections made Kyiv one of the true capitals of the medieval world. The soil of Novgorod preserved everyday objects that disappeared almost everywhere else in Europe. Because of this extraordinary preservation, historians can reconstruct daily life in ancient Rus with remarkable detail. One discovery proved just how far the trade of ancient Rus really reached. Hundreds of thousands of Arabic silver coins have been discovered across the lands of ancient Rus, revealing an enormous international trading network. Some of the finest swords in medieval Europe reached the warriors of Rus. Archaeologists have uncovered prestigious imported swords showing how closely Rus was connected to the wider world. One of the most touching discoveries from ancient Rus was made by a child. Real children's drawings survived for nearly 1,000 years, offering an unforgettable glimpse into everyday family life. People in ancient Rus knew how to work hard, but they also knew how to have fun. Archaeological discoveries revealed chess pieces, decent musical instruments, and toys enjoyed by people across Rus. Ancient Novgorod solved a problem that many medieval cities never could. Generation after generation built new wooden streets directly above older ones, preserving centuries of urban history. Beneath the city, ancient Rus was far more advanced, connected, and influential than most people imagine. Its legacy continues to shape the history, culture, and identity of Eastern Europe, nearly 1,000 years later. And these were just 50 remarkable facts from the extraordinary story of ancient Rus. History always has another story waiting to be discovered. Ancient Rus left behind more than chronicles. It preserved the everyday lives of ordinary people. Because these artifacts survived, we can see ancient Rus not as a legend, but as a civilization where real people